Hello, everybody. I've got the camera turned around into a dark mode because I really want you to concentrate on my words, not necessarily listen to or watch me. I want to talk today. As I'm traveling around and things that I see and hear people say, and just feel like we're really getting close to something big happening in the spiritual realm. What that is, I do not know. I'm not, Nostradamus. God hasn't spoken to me in any way about what's coming. It's just a feeling I have. And I know Pastor Tim hit on some really good stuff. Talk about the fundamentals of our faith. What are we actually believing, and what are we actually... What's the essence of a Christian? What do you have to believe to be a Christian? And the reverse of that is, what can't you deny and be a Christian? And it's got me thinking, and it's got me, we say that the message hasn't changed over the years as society and nations have done such a grand job of increasing in knowledge and technology and how to do things, splitting an atom that you can't even see, curing diseases. I mean, we look around and we see knowledge, and we see the more that we learn, society teaches us, the better we are. And yet, it was a tree of knowledge in the Garden of Eden that Eve partook of. And now, it was of good and evil, but it was still a tree of knowledge. And I sometimes we have to stop and really realize that knowledge isn't always the greatest thing. People came together in the Bible and they decided that they wanted to build a tower to heaven. And I think oftentimes we think of that as, well, that was a very vain thing to do, and we won't try to do that again. But it was enough of an issue that, God came down and scattered people across the way, and then that's where language came from, different languages. Well, we definitely have crossed the language barrier in today's times with the internet and with multiple people who can translate just about any language now. The fact that we can come together as a people and accomplish things, I think we've seen the results of that again through technology and through just breakthroughs, and I think I don't think God could be pleased with that. I mean, if he destroyed Babel at the time, for people coming together and being able to overcome the barrier or not really overcome the speech barrier because it didn't exist. The fact that they could come together and share ideas and be able to create something that God didn't like, I think today we're very capable of doing the same thing. Look at what we've done. I mean, we talk about knowledge as being a good thing, but we've created mass destructions arsenals of weapons that can kill people. And you can't tell me God's in a nuclear bomb. He'll just never be there. He wasn't in the dropping of the atomic bombs on Japan. There's no way God would sanction that. I don't think Truman did the will of God when he dropped those bombs. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But he saved so many other lives. That was a human question and a human equation, and he came up with a human answer. That's just my 2 cents on that. But moving on, look what else we've done. We've cloned animals. I mean, years ago, the big thing about a mule was it wasn't created by God. That it was, a horse and a donkey was bred and it created a mule. It was cross species. And that used to be the big thing. A mule is a thing from the devil. It used to be all kinds of people wouldn't even have a mule because of that back in the day. And I can still remember some of that as I was growing up. My dad didn't like mules. He had things to say about mules because it wasn't natural. And I think we look out there and the fact that we're cloning stuff, we're cloning sheep, and we're cloning organs. And, would you take something that's not God made and put in your body? And these are questions that you've got to stop and ask. Well, there's nothing wrong with a cloned organ. I don't know. I mean, God created me and He created life, and I don't know that I just want to take something that God didn't make and put it in my body. That's just another 2 cents worth for me. I'm not saying we shouldn't do that. I'm just saying I have issues that I would have to pray about and would really have to meditate on it before I would decide to do that. But I'm not willing to denounce it. But I'm just saying we need to look at the overall gist of the fact that, we're doing things that God was supposed to do, and we're doing them on a regular basis now. And that's from knowledge. The more knowledge we have, mankind kind of takes the place of God in a lot of things. So then, when you start sharing a message, the same message that's been going on for centuries, and that message is so simple. It doesn't require a huge education, and it doesn't require a thesis, and it just requires to believe. To believe in things that had never been seen before, to believe in something that had never been done before. You have to believe in those things. Those are an essential part of being a Christian. That Jesus was born of a virgin. If you don't believe he was born of a virgin, then you can't believe he was a deity. It's crucial that you take that stand. It's crucial that you believe that he lived a perfect and sinless life. If he did not live a sinless life, his death could not have been a substitute for our sins. That's an essential part of the solution that God came up with. That Jesus had to be perfect. If you don't believe that he died on that cross, then if you think that he just went about his life, I mean, that death is important because that was the day he died for all of us. And that's the day that we got to substitute our sins. But more important than all of those, our belief is totally worthless if we don't believe that he was resurrected. I don't know how to stress that, because a lot of people go, Brother Tim did a good job of talking about that. He talks about that you've got to believe that there's still scars on a human hand. That it might not be human, it's a glorified body, but you've got to believe he exists. You can touch him. You could touch him at that time. He wasn't a spirit. It's not that his teachings go on. It's not that the people believe in him. that makes us saved and forgiven. It's the fact that he died and rose again. And in the body, he rose again. So that we could see that he overcome death. That the process was complete. That he did what no one else could ever do. That's a very, very important part of the story. And you have to believe it. But that's it, right? You got to know the truth, and then you got to believe it. You got to believe it, and you got to be willing to give your life over to Jesus, because Jesus paid the price. So therefore, you give your life over to Jesus, and Jesus comes back into you and says, okay, we got this. And guess what? I got a friend here. His name's the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit's going to help you overcome your life's battles since I can't be here with you all the time. Well thought out, well planned, and it gives us everything we need. So now the devil is going to fight you, and he's going to fight left and right, up and down. The devil's crafty, and I know you shouldn't give the devil too much credit, but not to give him some credit diminishes his power on you. It makes you a little naive of what he can do. So you need to know how he works. His best defense, because we know he lost, and we know Jesus is definitely on the offense, because Jesus won. He scored the ultimate victory. The devil's best defense is to say, not today. His best defense is to say, not today. Let tomorrow be the day. Go get this taken care of, and let that be the day. You're not quite ready. You still like doing this sin. You don't really want to give up that. Not yet. A little bit of time, you'll do it. Everybody will do it. Everybody knows that's true, but do you really want to do it today? Look out there. The world is a world that's never been this way before. Sure you want to do that today? Knowledge has given us tons of opportunities that we never had before. And you really want to do that today? So he tells you to put it off. He doesn't tell you it's not true. He doesn't tell you not to believe. He just tells you not to make the commitment. That's lie number one. Defense Exhibit A. Defense Exhibit 2. Water it down. We say stuff like, you just have to believe. The devil comes back with all kinds of fictional characters. A Santa Claus that all you have to do is believe in Santa Claus and great things happen. Never-ending story. You have to believe for it to happen. The Lost Boys and Tinkerbell and Peter Pan. You have to believe. You can never grow up. You have to stay the little child that believes, or this all goes away. Good stories, but in the long run, they water down the message that we just need to believe in God. Because now, society has taught us that when you have to believe, you're believing in something that's in your own mind that you want to keep alive. Most of them are fictional characters. So it takes away from the fact that we say you just have to believe. I just got to believe like in Santa Claus, and Santa Claus will be real. So if I believe in Jesus, where he's real or not, because I believe in him, he is real. So then you can take that a next step and say, well, just because you believe in Jesus doesn't mean I have to believe in Jesus. That's in your head, young man, not necessarily for everybody. And we get turned around, and we start to wonder what's going on here. Do we really need to believe this? That is defense exhibit number 2. We water down the message so that it gets muddled, and all the other information that we process, we're overloaded with processing of information, so we just mix it up. Stuart Bilyles, a person who led me to Christ, was a missionary, and he used to say that over in Malawi, they would accept Jesus as a God fairly easy. And then he would go to their home and he would notice that on their wall they would have all these gods picture, and they would put Jesus right up there with him, with the rest of them. And they would say, yes, he's a God. But he come to realize that it's not that they wouldn't accept Jesus as a God, it's that they wouldn't accept Jesus as the only God. The only way to heaven is through Jesus. And the devil uses that in many ways, and I think about that so often. We do that in our lives here. We put Jesus right up there with the other things that are important to us. Careers, family, keeping up with the Joneses. We put Jesus right up there beside it, and we say, yep, Jesus is something I believe in, something I'm going to work and strive for, right along with the rest of these. But Jesus is the way. He's the only way. And he needs to be at the top of a pyramid. And we have a tendency to put him right alongside all the other things that we have in our life. I think time is short. I think we need to be speaking truth. I don't know that we got time to be subtle about it as much as we want. So, for today, that's my message. Talk to you later. God bless.